Have you ever been to a restaurant where the check arrives and you briefly consider faking a medical emergency to try and get out of paying it? Those are the kind of places we're covering today as we take a look into some of the Garden State's most expensive restaurants. We're talking establishments where the wine pairings alone could have covered your car payment, and where someone in the kitchen went to culinary school longer than most people went to actual school. First up is Batello, sitting right on the Hudson River in Jersey City, staring directly at the Manhattan skyline like it's flexing on purpose. This place is perched over the water with floor-to-ceiling windows that make every table feel like you're eating inside a postcard someone spent too much money on. The views alone justify half of the bill. Chef Ryan DiPerzio, one of New Jersey's most celebrated culinary names, runs the show here with contemporary Italian cuisine that's seafood forward and actually executed properly. Now, if you come to Batello and don't order the ricotta gnocchi with sweet sausage bolognese, you've made a mistake. This dish has survived every menu revamp since 2004 because people would apparently riot without it. The grilled Spanish octopus with crispy fingerling potatoes is an interesting appetizer, and the squid ink torchio pasta with king crab and octopus looks like something that crawled out of the deep sea but tastes like a religious experience. Finish with a dessert like the tiramisu that'll make you rethink every dessert decision you've ever made. Expect to spend somewhere in the $100 to $150 per person range at Batello if you want the full experience. This place knows exactly what it is, a waterfront flex with a kitchen that can back it up. Speaking of waterfront flexes, let's head slightly north to Weehawken, where the Chart House has been sitting on the Hudson since before most of the people eating there were born. Chart House is part of a national chain, sure, but this particular location has something the others don't. A dead-on view of the entire Manhattan skyline that makes you forget you're technically still in New Jersey. The restaurant sits right at the water's edge in Lincoln Harbor, and the views are so aggressive that first-time visitors spend half the meal taking photos like tourists, which they probably are, and that's fine. The menu is upscale American with a heavy focus on seafood and steak. The signature move here is the macadamia nut crusted mahi. It's been a Chart House staple for years, and people order it religiously. The slow roasted prime rib is another classic that brings the meat and potatoes crowd back. And you absolutely cannot leave without ordering the hot chocolate lava cake. It's made with Godiva liqueur, served warm with a molten center, topped with chocolate sauce, Heath Bar Crunch, and vanilla ice cream. It takes 30 minutes to prepare, which means you commit to it early like it's a relationship. Prices land in the $80 to $120 per person range, depending on how many times you say yes to the server's upsell attempts. Chart House is for people who want a guaranteed impressive night without the pretension. Now let's take a trip down to the shore, specifically Seagirt, one of those quiet money beach towns where people say summer as a verb and nobody explains how they afford anything. Scarborough Fair has been operating here since 1980 in a restored 1800s farmhouse, which in restaurant years is basically forever. This is the shore's answer to fine dining for people who got tired of waiting 2 hours for a table at some overpriced seafood shack with plastic chairs and a parking lot full of sand. The vibe is upscale and romantic. Brick, wood, high ceilings, private alcoves. Open Table literally keeps giving them Diner's Choice Awards for romantic. The menu is eclectic American with global influences, and they're serious about sourcing. Humanely raised organic meats, wild-caught seafood from local cooperatives. The crab cakes are legendary here, and the pistachio-crusted rack of lamb with wild rice and roasted garlic demi-glaze is a showstopper. The sumac-crusted salmon with Chardonnay cream sauce hits different when you're trying to impress someone. Prices here run around $80 to $120 per person. Scarborough Fair isn't trendy. It doesn't need to be. It's been executing the same elegant formula for over 40 years. Now we're heading to Central Jersey, Monroe Township specifically, where Jasper Stone Italian Steakhouse has been quietly building a cult, people who take steak and pasta equally seriously. Jasper Stone is an Italian steakhouse run by owners Victoria and Kim, which means you get Sicilian grandmother energy meets American chop house. The space is upscale but comfortable. Warm lighting, seasonal floral displays, the kind of room where people celebrate birthdays, anniversaries, and we just closed a deal dinners. Oh, and it's BYOB, which means you bring your own wine and somehow still leave having spent a mortgage payment anyway. The tomahawk steak is the flex order at $175, a massive, beautifully prepared cut that people photograph before eating like it's a newborn baby. The Wagyu meatballs are another signature that people won't shut up about on TikTok. The Allen Brothers filet mignon is consistently described as the best steak I've ever had by reviewers who sound like they mean it. And the macaroni with spicy vodka sauce and burrata is for pasta lovers who came with someone who wanted steak. Expect to spend a minimum of $100 to $150 per person if you're doing it right. Jasper Stone is the kind of place that does both traditions well, Italian and steakhouse, without half-assing either one. Let's get into some serious celebrity chef territory. Red Horse by David Burke is located inside the Bernard's Inn, a historic inn in Bernardsville that's been operating since 1907. David Burke is a culinary icon who's been a fixture of New York's fine dining scene for decades. Red Horse is his New Jersey outpost, and it plays to his strengths: inventive American cuisine with serious technique and presentations that make you feel like you should be documenting everything. An amazing dish here, and I cannot stress this enough, is the clothesline bacon. They literally hang thick-cut bacon from a miniature clothesline at your table, glazed with a sweet and peppery coating that hits every flavor note at once. It's theatrical, it's ridiculous, and it's absolutely worth ordering. The Himalayan salt dry aged steaks are another flex. Burke actually holds a U.S. patent for his salt dry aging process. The 14-ounce aged New York strip and the 20-ounce cowboy ribeye are both consistently praised. And the famous bread service features giant popovers with spiced butter that'll make you forget why you even came for dinner. Prices here are legitimately high-end. Figure $120 to $180 per person for dinner. This is destination dining. The Highlawn is pure Jersey vibes in the best possible way. This place sits in the hills of West Orange inside a historic 1909 Italian building, and the views of the Manhattan skyline from the terrace are genuinely unbelievable. This is the restaurant for sunsets, the kind of place where you strategically time your reservation so you're seated when the sky starts going orange and Manhattan lights up like it's performing just for you. The restaurant knows this. The floor-to-ceiling windows in the grill room ensure every seat has access to the view. The menu is upscale New American with Italian influences. The Highlawn signature slow-roasted boneless prime rib is the move, served with warm Rayfort sauce and 72-hour natural veal juice. The Highlawn meatball appetizer is another standout. Fresh ricotta, anchovy butter, wood-grilled focaccia, micro basil. For seafood lovers, the lobster thermidor and pan-roasted scallops get consistent praise. And you absolutely have to try the tiramisu. Their chef insists it'll become one of the restaurant's signature desserts, and based on reviews, he's not wrong. Prices here range from $100 to $150 per person. The Highlawn is about the full experience: the building, the view, the sunset, and food that holds up its end of the bargain. Time for something a bit different. Varka Estiatorio in Ramsey is one of the most respected Greek seafood restaurants in the entire tri-state area. And yes, that includes Manhattan. The concept here is simple: pristine Mediterranean seafood, prepared simply and charged by the pound. You walk in, you look at the fish display, you point at what you want, and it gets weighed and grilled. Traditional Greek taverna style, except in a sleek, modern Bergen County dining room with white linens and prices that remind you this isn't a taverna at all. The fish is flown in from Greece and the Mediterranean. We're talking whole Dover sole, loup de mer, royal dorado, foie gras. The signature dish is the tipsy lobster, a whole grilled lobster that's absolutely worth the price. The charcoal grilled octopus melts in your mouth. The Greek fisherman's chowder with Chilean sea bass is warming and flavorful. And you have to try the Varka chips, crispy eggplant and zucchini chips with tzatziki that disappear before you even realize you're full. Prices can escalate quickly here. Well, fresh Mediterranean fish by the pound adds up, and it's easy to hit $120 to $200 per person. But for people who love seafood done right, Varka is the answer. Now let's enter a completely different universe. 90 Acres at Latour is located on a nearly 500-acre estate in Somerset County that was once owned by the King of Morocco. The restaurant sits inside a beautifully restored carriage house on the grounds of the Pendry Latour Resort. They practice farm to table in the most literal way possible. They have their own 12-acre sustainable farm on property, and the kitchen sources produce herbs and even livestock directly from it. The menu changes constantly based on what's available, which means you're eating food that was probably still in the ground a couple days ago. Signature dishes include the poached Maine lobster with squid ink gemelli pasta, the duck breast with beets and golden snow peas, and the grilled prime New York strip with duck fat confit potatoes. The carpaccio of Wagyu is a consistent crowd favorite, as are the New England scallops. For dessert, the butterscotch pretzel sundae and salted caramel cheesecake are both worth saving room for. This is tasting menu territory. The 5-course menu runs $115. The 7-course chef's tasting goes higher, and wine pairings add another $55 minimum. 90 Acres isn't for everyone. It's for people who want food as an experience, not just a meal. Saddle River is one of those towns where the median home price is a conversation ender, and Saddle River Inn fits right in. This restaurant occupies a converted 19th century barn, actual rustic beams, original architecture, and it's been one of Bergen County's premier fine dining destinations for decades. The menu is refined French-American, executed by Chef Jamie Knott with serious technique and seasonal ingredients. The place is BYOB, which means you bring your own wine, and trust me, people bring serious bottles here. A great starting dish is the tuna carpaccio. Sushi-grade yellowfin pounded thin, seasoned with salt and togarashi, drizzled with soy mayo and lemon vinaigrette. The Dover sole is another frequent standout that guests call the best they've ever had. The Colorado lamb chops are expertly prepared, and the bone-in veal chop parmigiana is a special that people specifically call a head for. And for dessert, the peanut butter mousse with dark chocolate ganache and salted peanuts is the kind of thing that ruins other desserts for you. Dinner here runs $120 to $180 per person, depending on how deep you go into courses. Saddle River Inn isn't trying to reinvent anything. It's executing classic fine dining at a high level in a setting that feels special. We're finishing in Sussex County, which is the part of New Jersey that doesn't even feel like New Jersey. All hills, forests, and people questioning if they're still in the same state. Restaurant Latour is located at Crystal Springs Resort, and it's one of the best fine dining experiences in the entire state. The dining room features a glass wall framing the sunset over the Kittatinny Mountains, and the wine program is the stuff of actual legend. Their cellar holds over 60,000 bottles, with more than 170 wines that have received perfect 100-point scores. They've won the Wine Spectator Grand Award every single year since 2006. In 2018, they were inducted into Wine Enthusiast America's Best Wine Restaurant Hall of Fame, the only New Jersey restaurant alongside names like Per Se, The French Laundry, and 11 Madison Park. The food matches the wine program's ambition. Executive Chef Florian Verli and Chef de Cuisine Matt Lorick approach seasonal cooking with techniques like fermentation, preservation, and foraging. The menu changes constantly. The Muscovy duck with beetroot, chocolate, and popped sorghum is a standout. The rabbit roulade gets praise. And every meal concludes with custom-made chocolates by Jacques Torres. Dark chocolate bonbons with black truffle and black trumpet mushroom. The 5-course menu runs $115, the 7-course chef's tasting goes higher, and wine pairings start at $55. Restaurant Latour is destination dining in the truest sense. So there it is, the restaurants where New Jersey stops playing around and starts demanding you take it seriously. From waterfront views of Manhattan to farm-to-table estates that used to belong to royalty, these are the places where the food, the setting, and the bill all compete to impress you.